Well, hello and welcome to the ADA Shop Talk podcast. I'm your host, Paul Klein. And if you are an ADA coordinator, government official, architect, or accessibility specialist trying to better understand the ADA, then you are in the right place. And remember, the ADA Shop Talk is brought to you by BlueDag. Check out BlueDag's Transition Plan Builder and Inspection Suite over at BlueDag.com. We'd love to give you a demo or a little test run on that if you're interested. And just me today. So happy post-Memorial Day, because that's when this will be published. So had a lot of interviews, a lot of great interviews this last month or so. I was out in California doing some training, and so leaned on a lot of the interviews that we'd been producing and so forth. So I hope you enjoyed those. We had, Doug with LCM and Christy with Accessology and Steve Twist, just a bunch of Marsha Maz. There's a bunch of others, and got more for you coming. So if you are interested or know somebody who might be a good guest, hit me up over at pklein@bluedag.com or over at the ADA Shop Talk community, where all of the good stuff is hosted and posted. So we also had a really good webinar last Thursday. It would have been May 23rd. Not sure when you're listening to this, but we had Sumo for you California folks out there. She did a really great webinar on the July 1st, 2024 California Building Code amendments or supplements or erratas, the new stuff that becomes enforceable on the 1st. So that was a good session, and we've got the replay posted for you. But yeah, today's just me and you, depending on where you're at, driving or flying or whatever else you're doing. That's the neat thing about podcasts. You can listen to them anytime and anywhere. So I'm with you here today, no one else. And just thought I'd give you some recent ADA events of interest. There's a lot of stuff happening this time of year. I've noticed over my career in this, there's a lot of events in the May, June, July kind of time frame. So I was going to give you some quick highlights, and you can go check it out. I'll post links to everything I note here for you, so you don't have to write it down. You can go click on the links. But yeah, and some are training, some are events. And so I'll just start with number one. I just kind of made some notes for you today. Number one is Seyfarth Shaw LLP is a legal blog. I think they're out of California. I've been following them for some time, but they just posted, you may miss this. It was just posted or went out to their email list on May 22nd. So you may have missed this. And it also, they encompass a lot of things from the DOJ and so forth. The DOJ may have put an email out, but I didn't get that one. I got it from Seyfarth. But the DOJ issued the Small Entity Compliance Guide for state and local governments for web content and mobile app accessibility. I also posted the article in the ADA Shop Talk community, so if you want to check it out there. Has some compliance dates and so forth, but the big thing has always been for Title III and public, or both public and private entities, is what do we do about websites? There's the guidelines, kind of like public right of way, what guidelines, how do we make our websites and our apps accessible? And there's all these best practice that, I don't know, WC3 or W, whatever it is, and it's really like the ProHag. Some of it's a lot real vague, and it's like, follow this, but we really don't know how to tell you how to do it. And so, the DOJ finally did produce, actual, compliance guides for your web and your mobile accessibility for government entities. So I haven't read the article yet, but it's again, I'll post the link and the link to the guide that the DOJ published. They just published it on May 22nd, so it's brand new if you haven't checked it out. And I'll just read the little highlight here. On May 22nd, 2024, Department of Justice published the Small Entity Compliance Guide to help people who work for the state or local governments understand the web content and mobile app accessibility requirements of newly issued regulations under Title II of the Americans with Disabilities Act. The guide reviews Reasons why the DOJ established these specific requirements to ensure people with disabilities have access to services, programs, and activities, PSA, of state and local governments, and to provide greater clarity about what covered entities must do to comply with these new requirements. And so check that out. If you're ADA coordinator, government official, that'll be of interest to you. So I'll put that link in there. So that just came out. Check that out. And also, for those of you who are just in the know in the ADA world, usually what happens with local government becomes Title III. It usually follows. So all of this comes in effect. Let's see. It looks like 2026, 2027, somewhere in there is the April. So it's coming in effect in the next few years, which means probably a few years after that, it'll become effective for the private sector or the public accommodation sector. So it's good to become familiar with those and just kind of, see where this is going because, it's developing and it's slow, but it's coming. So check that out. The Small Entity Compliance Guide for State and Local Governments. And then coming up on June 4th, next week is the Fair Housing Act Requirement 1, accessible building entrances on an accessible route. It is it's put out by the Fair Housing Accessibility First organization. They're a national organization that kind of helps with the fair housing enforcement and, well, not so much enforcement, more training and so forth. But it's called Fair Housing Accessibility First. So anybody who's dealing with housing, it's an area near and dear to my heart. So I'll probably tune into that. But it's June 4th, 9 a.m. to 10:30 a.m. Central Time. And they're covering all of the Requirement 1 requirements from the Fair Housing Act. So anybody who's dealing with any kind of multifamily or apartments, private multifamily, that you'll definitely want to check that out. That's applicable in all 50 states. Looks like you can get a certificate of attendance and maybe some CEUs and so forth. And again, I'll put that link in there. I don't think there's a cost. I believe it's free. So I don't see a cost on here. So I think it is free. So that's kind of cool. So that's, June 4th, 9 a.m. to 10:30 a.m. Central Standard Time, some fair housing training there for you. And then for you California folks, Cassie has a discussion group coming up. For those of you who don't know, the Certified Access Specialist Institute is out in California. They're kind of like the APA in Texas. I'm trying to think of who else there is, but they're a fairly active organization out in California for Certified Access Specialists, or CAS. And they have a code discussion group coming up on accessible means of egress. So it's real specific to California, the California Building Code, the ADAS with the California amendments. But that's on June 7th. 12 p.m. to 1:30 p.m. Pacific Standard Time. So that's the Cassie discussion group, June 7th, 12 p.m. to 1:30 p.m. Pacific Standard Time. And I think there is a cost to that, or that one might be free also. Let me look here. I think that one is free. Yeah. So it's free to Cassie members. So if you're not a Cassie member, I think you can get a student deal for pretty cheap. So you can check that out if you're not a CAS. Or if you are a CAS or interested in becoming a CAS, definitely check that out. So I'll put that link in the show notes there for you. And next one here, this one's kind of a big one. This one comes up every year. I'm going to be there. So if you're going to be there, I'd love you to come by and say hi. Blue Dag's going to have a booth, and it is the National ADA Symposium in Minneapolis, June 9th through June 12th. And I'll be up there with Jessica, who's one of our power demo and sales people. She'll be working the booth with me, and also our partner in crime and part owner and extraordinaire Josh Hovinga is going to be there with us too. So there's going to be 3 of us from Blue Dag at the ADA Symposium, and a lot of great sessions there. And every year, it's always a good session. I know a lot of people in the industry are there, so a lot of great speakers and so forth, and training sessions. They're also having the APA BE exam this year up there, so if you've signed up for that, you'll be able to check that out. I mean, just a a plethora of opportunities there, and great presenters. I'm trying to think who some of the speakers. Marsha Maz. Let's see, Christy Avalos, who's been on the show. Bill Botten, who used to work with the Access Board. I know. Kaylin Dunlap, and Jan Garrett. So a lot of familiar names. Bill Heckler. Bill, if you're listening, one of these days we got to get you on the podcast. We've been trying to put together a interview, but our schedules haven't been meeting up. But man, there's just a whole bunch of great people here. A lot of people I know and don't know, but many that you probably know in the industry. So just, I mean, there's a ton. Jim Terry. So great lineup there. Lots of different, sessions on built environment as well as policies, procedures, PSAs. So, a lot of good stuff there. So one of the speakers you won't see is me. So I got a little bone to pick with them because I put in for it and I get it. You can't have everybody and that's fine. But, at least send back somebody who's taken the time to put in a session and develop a session. I had developed what I thought would be really good is a plan review 101 for ADA coordinators. A lot of ADA coordinators struggle with inspections and plan review. And that was an area that I hadn't seen really addressed much in the symposiums that I've attended in the past. So I don't know, last fall I thought I'll put my name in the hat, see if it works out, and thought I'd at least get a, thanks, but no thanks, or, appreciate you taking the time to submit. But man, I didn't even get a, you don't love me anymore, email. And I emailed them back, still didn't get anything. So I don't know. It is what it is, but, small gripe from me this morning, but at least get a response would be kind of nice. But anyway, it is still a great organization and conference to go to every year. So if you're new to the ADA or you've been going or you haven't been in a while, definitely come up there. It's June 9th through June 12th up in Minneapolis. I think it's at the Hilton, and I'll be there for a few days. I'd love to see you, have a coffee or a adult beverage or a hangout and come say hi. So I'd love to see you there. So that is June 9th through the 12th coming up here shortly. And then also one of the other ones that we're having is another ADA Shop Talk webinar. They're free. Will be coming up on June 20th next month. And that's with myself and Victor Felix. And so we're going to be diving into the Fair Housing Amendments as well. So it's basically demystifying the Fair Housing Amendments Act design guidelines. That's going to be June 20th, 2024 from 1 o'clock to 2 o'clock Central Time or 11 a.m. to 12 p.m. Pacific Time. So I hope to see you there. Those are always fun. We had about 300 people on the last one. And if you can't make it, there's a replay, but they're free. And we always have a great group in there. It's inside the ADA Shop Talk community. And you can go in there and register and set up a free account and then register for the free webinar there. So good resources in there. And we've had a lot of pretty good dialogue. We usually post a picture each week of what's wrong with this picture. So we get some gnashing of the teeth and some debate going on there. And then I usually always do an ADA question of the week too. And that's been pretty lively. So a lot of good topics there. And then lastly, this one's good too. The Texas Accessibility Academy. So if you've ever been interested in being a TAS or a RAS, it's kind of, I'm not a RAS yet, Registered Accessibility Specialist out of Texas. It's kind of like, Texas is a version of CASP, although RAS was around before CASP and CASP kind of copied Texas. So Texas has been doing, had their state accessibility specialists for many years. And it's a 2-day virtual class. And it looks like they have one on June 25th and June 27th, 2024. And there's another session coming up in October. So if you can't make that one, but there is a fee for these. And I believe that you need to have this. It's for continuing education if you are a RAS, or if you are becoming a RAS, you want to take these because they cover all of like the policies and the Texas accessibility standard specific stuff, and nothing like California, but there are some nuances to it that you can pick up. So I'm hoping to take one of these sessions and then sit for the RAS exam myself, and one of the ones I've been wanting to get for a while. So that's coming up on Tuesday and Thursday, June 25th and 27th, 2024. And that's kind of it for June. I only covered June. I know there might be some other events. I know Cassie has their annual conference, I think, in October. And I know there's some other ones, AIA and APA just had theirs. But I just covered June there. So a lot of stuff happening here in June. Check those out. Look in the show notes. I'll have all those links and information. So if you heard something that I spoke about here, let me know. And also, just let me know if you have any topics. We did quite a few interviews. I'm kind of more interview focused, but I haven't heard a lot of comments whether you prefer the solo episodes or the interview episodes. So I'd be interested to hear from you which you prefer. And if you got any good guests or topics you'd like me to cover, definitely would love to hear from you. And, check out the ADA Shop Talk community. Everything's happening in there. If you haven't been in there lately, get in there. Got almost we're over 2,500 people in there now. I think I'm trying to get to 3,000. We got a lot of active people. So, every now and then I go live in there and so forth. I haven't done that in a while, so I need to do that here. I'll probably do a surprise session here pretty soon. So check out the free ADA Shop Talk community. Email me at pklein@bluedag.com if you got any topics or guests you'd like to hear. And I hope to see you on our free webinar coming up on June 20th, Demystifying the Fair Housing Amendments Act. And if you haven't already subscribed to the ADA Shop Talk podcast, please subscribe on your favorite podcast players such as iTunes, Spotify, and iHeartRadio. We are continuing to grow. This is episode 15, so we're doing well, and I want to keep this going. Hope you're enjoying it. And with that, go out there and rock your ADA efforts. And remember, let's all work together to create a world where everyone has the opportunity to thrive. Take care, and until next week, I'll have another great interview for you and another solo show for you coming up soon. Have a great rest of your week. Hope you had a great Memorial Day. I'm out, and we will talk to you soon. Bye-bye.